Hello everyone, today it's time for a new video and something new that I want to try, which is just basically recording some work on street lighting while I'll tell a bit of a story about it, because there are some very interesting changes happening in the field of street lighting at the moment. There's a lot to talk about and I thought why not share it in this type of content. So as a lot of collectors know, but for the people that don't know yet, a lot of the bulbs that are used in street lighting aren't produced anymore. That has been the case for mercury vapor for over 10 years now, I think, for low pressure sodium lighting for 6 or 7 years, but now they also don't really produce the fluorescents anymore, which means that some bulbs commonly used in street lighting are very hard to get. There are certain companies that don't even sell fluorescent bulbs anymore, and considering that at least in the Netherlands there are still quite a fair amount of fluorescent bulbs around, it's starting to lead into some very interesting problems. And one of the problems that I want to talk about today is the very cheap LED street lighting, which what is basically happening right now with the ban on fluorescence is that they are forcing councils to go LED, while quite a few councils, at least in the area where I do maintenance, don't have the budget to go LED very quickly. So basically they are forced to go with very cheap LED solutions, which is resulting into some very interesting prices on the market. So if you've been following the prices of LED lanterns over the years, 10 years ago you would almost spend €1,000 just on one singular LED fixture, and the price has gone down because they have found cheaper ways to produce LEDs and everything. But since the last year or so, since the fluorescent ban, there have been a lot of companies from Eastern countries that produce very cheap and LED fixtures with also very poor quality. And considering there isn't much money and there isn't much time, it starts to happen more and more that the councils just go with very cheap LED fixtures, which is leading to some very incredible problems. Like 30 or 40 years ago, there wasn't as much as a rush on renewing street lighting as there is today. And you basically had just a few brands like Philips and Industria, Schreder, that would produce like the standard quality lanterns, and then you would also have brands like Celux, for example, that would produce the more special lanterns. But outside of that realm, there weren't much other companies that had their fixtures actually installed in a council just on the streets. But since the fluorescent ban, there have been more and more strange companies that have actually scored very big projects. And since they can produce LED fixtures for a lot cheaper, because also the quality is a bit worse, Philips and also the other companies have also chosen to just start making cheaper fixtures, which honestly is not a very good thing, because they also end up looking very ugly in most cases. But it does lead to LED fixtures being relatively cheap compared to any other fixture, because even 30 or 40 years ago you would have to pay at least like €200 for a decent fixture, but now there's actually fixtures on the market that are beneath €100, just brand new LED fixtures. But obviously there's like a reason why they are so cheap, because just the quality is very subpar. Which kind of leads to the reason what I hate the most about this entire fluorescent ban thing, because it's mostly to save energy and to support the environment, at least that's what they say. And while I do agree that we have to support the environment, I don't think that this is a way that works, because what's happening now is they are getting rid of their pretty good quality fixtures to switch them out for very cheap LED fixtures mostly from China. I mean, they're not really choosing the good old Philips and Schreder European brands, but they are importing very cheap LED fixtures from all over the world, which the quality is subpar. A lot have very early failures, like water damage, which is a big thing, which basically is the end of an LED fixture, considering it's all basically electronics. Which just leads to more and more garbage over the years, which I don't really think is what they wanted, but it is what is happening, at least what I'm noticing. And I mean, for me still, like, a big reason why people go LED is just to save energy, and it's not necessarily because they think that the light or anything is better, but it's just basically to save energy, and people are going to do that anyway, but just give them their time and don't force them into buying cheap garbage that I don't think most councils are happy with, and the end result for everyone is just bad, because you have a lot of early failures, and it's the same with the cheap retrofits that were being used a few years ago. We have so many failures on those LED bulbs, which honestly just leads to more and more garbage being produced, and it's actually kind of sad to see the state of street lighting in the current era. The only upside to this situation, in my opinion, is that councils now don't really go that easily for like the very smart street lighting installations. That was a big thing like 5 years ago, considering that's too expensive, and I think some have actually noticed that it's also can be a very shaky system. Like, there's a lot of different extra faults that you get with, say, a Philips City Touch system, for example. But nowadays there's not even really the money anymore to work with those systems anyway, so it's not really being used anymore. But yeah, basically I don't think that this is the way we should be going about the LED technology, sorry, because this is only, we're just making the situation worse with the environment and everything, with all of the garbage that is being produced. And please let me know in the comments below what you think about this situation, and if I should do videos of this kind more often. I still have a few ideas, which I'll try my best to record on camera. Thanks so much for watching, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next